Hello and welcome to the Mad Leprechaun. My name is Mert Walsh. I'm in Belgium, Leopoldsburg, the start of the corridor, what became known as Hell's Highway and is now known as the Liberation Route. I have made a series of notes and I'll be referring to them as I go along throughout the course of the video because I just can't remember everything. So hopefully you'll be learning a little bit like I'll be learning as I go along. If that's something that interests you, please do stick around and stay tuned until after the intro. So why Leopoldsburg? I wanted to start my journey here because in 1944, just behind me here, there was a cinema. Unfortunately, the cinema got burnt down in 1972. But why is it so important? Well, this is the spot where Lieutenant General Brian Horrocks gave his briefing to the men of 30 Corps before they embarked on their journey towards Arnhem. And I wanted to give you a quote from Brian Horrocks before I headed off to Joe's Bridge as well. This is a story you will tell your grandchildren, and mighty bored they will be. This is Operation Market Garden. The vital factor is speed. Right, Joe's Bridge it is then. Shame it's a one-way street, so I have to turn right. Back up that way where the traffic's coming from is the station, and there is a Sherman tank sitting on a plinth. Leopoldsburg is a little bit like Colchester in the fact that it's a garrison town. Quite a nice Belgian town, really. Oh, advice to anybody riding around in the Netherlands stroke Belgium area. Don't buy your fuel in the Netherlands, it's too expensive. So I'm definitely going to be refueling the bike and myself in Belgium. No Belgian beer though. There's a fantastic museum here, by the way, dedicated to Hell's Highway and the start of it. And in fact, the cinema was called the Splendid, and you can buy beer, Belgian beer, named after the cinema at the museum. Unfortunately, I don't have time for all of that today, unfortunately, because I've got to try and get back to Arnhem, because today is, in actual fact, the 80th anniversary. Today. So today is the 17th of September. And military-wise, this was an exceptionally busy day. So you'll hear me say the 17th of September, I should imagine, quite a few times today. This is Joe's Bridge in Belgium. On the 17th of September 1944, British Army 30 Corps departs from here and enters the Netherlands. The bridge does not fall to the British without a fight. A week earlier, it is captured by the Irish Guards in a surprise attack on the Germans. But the Germans don't surrender the bridge easily. They counterattack in an attempt to recapture the bridge. This results in several civilian casualties. The Guards hold their position. The bridge is renamed Joe's Bridge after their commander. So their commander was actually called John Ormsby Evelyn Vandelier, and I hope I am pronouncing his name correctly. So they took the initials of his first three names, Joe, and called the bridge Joe's Bridge. I have been here before with my wife some years ago, and if I remember correctly, there was a memorial, but if there is, I can't find it. Anyway, my next objective is to push on and get into the Netherlands. Throughout the process of me learning about Hell's Highway, I learned that 30 Corps didn't push on maybe as far as they could have done for whatever reason, but they didn't, and they stopped in the next town where I'm going to visit, and I'm definitely going to have a cup of coffee there because I feel the need. But the fact that they stopped in this town kind of frustrated the Americans, and every time they stopped, it obviously caused another delay. Keeping in mind, today is the 17th of September. There's paras dropping into Arnhem. The paras were told to hold the bridge at Arnhem for 2 days, and they would be relieved by 30 Corps after 2 days. So any delay between their start point and their objective could and did have an effect. It all had a knock-on effect. Still on the liberation route, just coming into Valkenswaard, and I don't know if that's the right way of pronouncing it, but that's what I'm going with. And this was where 30 Corps stopped on the evening of the 17th of September. We're here. We found it. After a slight faff and ignoring signs that said road closed, we are finally here. So I've stopped in Valkenswaard, and I've just taken some advice, and that is how you pronounce it. If I pronounce it differently later on, I do apologise. So this is what I've been seeing at the side of the road. They're like billboards, black and white photographs of 30 Corps and scenes from the 17th of September as 30 Corps moved up Hell's Highway, and this is effectively part of Hell's Highway. And right or wrong, they stopped. They felt they needed to. I don't know. It's been debated one way or the other over the years, over the last 80 years, as to why they stopped. But the American troops felt that they wanted them further up that way in Eindhoven, and that is where I'm effectively going next. But I am going to have a cup of coffee. Right, I have been referring to an app, and these two people here are using the app, and there is a little machine. You can wind the handle and it will give you an audio talk. Basically, it'll tell you about what happened at the various different points. The app will bring you to those points, or if you find yourself maybe a little bit lost, you can click on the map, find where you are, and it will tell you if there's a point of interest within, walking distance. So I'm just going to show you, as those two nice people have just walked away. So you come across a post like this. It's got the emblem on the top, and that's the same emblem as is on the app. You press the button.
Welkom. Welcome. Willkommen. Press once for English.
It was already dark on September the 17th, 1944, around 7:30 in the evening, when the British drove into the marketplace here in Valkenswaard. The village suffered a great deal from Allied artillery shelling and Typhoon airstrikes. Many houses were ablaze. The cigar factories, the then pride of Valkenswaard, were hard hit, and there were many deaths. But despite that, people emerged from hiding to cheer their throats hoarse for their liberators. Next day, BBC war correspondent...
Right, I can't record all of it, and it would be wrong of me to record all of it. What I played is subject to copyright, but it gives you a little bit of a flavour as to how the app works. So you don't have to come here and wonder what happened. It will play it for you. There's also a QR code on the little map, and that will bring you to a little piece of, well, it'll bring you to the internet, and it will tell you about what happened here. Right, that is Valkenswaard, and that's the last time I'm going to say that. But it's a really lovely place. It's just a shame I came here on today. Apparently this marketplace would have been full, absolutely full of 30 Corps. I mean, full crammed. So my next objective is coffee, so I'm not going to show you that. But then after that, I'm hoping to go to Eindhoven. So I'm obviously just on the outskirts of Valkenswaard, and I've set my sat-nav, I hope, for St. Catherine's Church, Eindhoven. Part of Hell's Highway. Amazingly, it is now 1 o'clock. Even more amazingly, I'll be there in 15 minutes. Gives you a bit of an idea of how far or how not far Eindhoven and St. Catherine's Church is from where 30 Corps stopped in the evening. To stress that one, on the evening of the 17th of September. Well, I found St. Catherine's Church. It's behind me. That was a bit of a pain in the bum to try and find St. Catherine's Church. The sat-nav is not helping me at all. Anyhow, the road that literally runs down here, directly in front of St. Catherine's Church and off down that way, is all part of Hell's Highway. You can only imagine when 30 Corps eventually did make their way to Eindhoven. That street down there is really, really small. And so is that street over there. The people of Eindhoven came out to greet them. They gave them flowers, they gave them bottles of wine. They generally cheered when they arrived. All of this held up progress and had a knock-on effect on their progress up the corridor and the liberation route. Right, there is a memorial on one of the buildings, and I'm not sure where it is, so I'm going to try and find it. So I'll switch the camera off, do a little bit of searching, and then I'm going to bring you to the memorial, hopefully, and then get back on the bike and crack on. I've wasted so much time wandering around the streets trying to find the front, and yet again just over there they've blocked off the road because they're going to have a memorial service here later on this evening. Right, let's find the memorial and then get the hell out of here. St. Catherine's Church is behind me, and that is a memorial plaque to the people that lost their life on the 19th September 1944 when the Luftwaffe bombed Eindhoven in reprisal for the Allied forces making their way through and up this way. Right, and that is, you can now stand on the pedestrian area. That is Hell's Highway, and that is heading towards Somme. And that's where I shall be heading in a moment. This is heading back towards my motorbike and the way I've just come. St. Catherine's Church, looking absolutely gorgeous. So there's a famous photograph of the 101st Airborne Division resting up on the steps of St. Catherine's Church. Right. Time for me, yet again, to get back on my bike, and hopefully my navigation out of the town will be a lot easier than it was getting in. Right. Oh wow, the bridge is up. I've reached the second bridge. I'm now at what used to be a swing bridge at a village called Sun, in the Netherlands. On the 17th of September, shortly after members of the 101st Airborne Division landed near Sun, the whole 1st Battalion of the 506th Regiment found their way to one of their main objectives, the swing bridge over the Wilhelmina Canal at Sun. To take the Germans at the bridge by surprise, they took a route through the surrounding woods. Their intention of the troops was to flank, attack, and neutralize any Germans defending the bridge. When the troops came close to their target, they discover a German flak battery consisting of 2 88mm guns, mortars, and machine guns protecting the bridge. This battery had already been noticed and briefed to the British in Belgium by the local resistance, but apparently this information hadn't reached the Americans, because otherwise they wouldn't have chosen the route that they did to the bridge. When the troops came in sight of the gun after coming from the protection of the woods, the Germans opened up and laid down heavy fire. This unexpected firepower resulted in heavy losses of the 101st Airborne. Unfortunately, before the 101st could take the bridge, the Germans defending it blew it. So this bridge was blown, and that also held up progress along the corridor. The corridor and back towards Eindhoven is that way, and we are now heading that way. So they're trying to cross over the river. So the British were tasked with putting a bridge back in place after this bridge had been blown, and the story has it that the British said it would take 12 hours. Apparently 11 hours 59 minutes later, 30 Corps were able to roll tanks across a pontoon bridge.
So hopefully you're enjoying some of what I'm putting together. I know it's bite-sized chunks, but kind of that's how I learn. And I'm not going to go in depth about the the whole Operation Market Garden, because there is people that are a lot better qualified than me to do just that. So if you've never ever read, looked at, looked into, or were interested in, and this is, sorry to interrupt myself, John S. Thompson Bridge. We're just about to ride across it. And this bridge was taken intact with 16 men. Oh wow, that's a hell of a structure. And that is a hell of a river down there to try and get across. Fabulous. Yeah, so there's a lot of people that are a lot better qualified than me that will tell you a lot more in depth, but if you've never ever looked at any of or anything about Operation Market Garden, well then hopefully you've learnt a little bit, just a little bit by watching my video, and I'll have done a good job. Not waving, they're not looking.
Right, I'm now back up and stood on top of John S. Thompson's bridge. The bridge was named after John and his 16 men. So the story goes that his company dropped too early, whether it be by design or by mistake. The bunker that's down here is facing this way towards the bridge, so effectively to defend the bridge. There's no gun emplacements facing that way. There was, however, a gun of some sort, a large gun of some sort, sitting on top of the bunker, but it couldn't get its gun down low enough to try and take out the paras that were going to try and take the bridge. The eagle-eye ones of you will spot that there is some false windows painted. I don't know when they were painted, but there is only 2 actual apertures. And as I understand it, there is no apertures on the other side. So let's go and have a look. This was built in 1936 and would have been built by the Dutch. And it faces the bridge. There's nothing to stop someone storming it from this side. There's no way of defending it from this side. That building across there, that was also there on the night of the 17th of September 1944, when John S. Thompson and his men stormed this bunker. Apparently they came from that direction, basically just came up this side and took out the gun that was on the top of it. With a bazooka, were able to successfully storm the bunker, protecting it, and they took the bridge intact. It wasn't blown. So when 30 Corps came along to drive across the bridge, they had no issues and drove straight across the bridge and on to Nijmegen.
So 30 Corps came across this bridge on the 19th of September on their way to Nijmegen. And if you haven't worked it out by now, they should have been at Arnhem by then. But I do know that they had an awful lot of resistance when they got to Nijmegen. They met up with members of the 101st Airborne, and they had been trying to get across the bridge at Nijmegen, and they've been trying to take the bridge and get across the bridge since the 17th. So 30 Corps met up with them, and the fight continued, and more delays ensued with their progress.
Finally made it. This is effectively the end of my journey, but it's not the end of my story. So I've got one more story to tell, and here goes. I am in Nijmegen, and this is one of the bridges of Nijmegen, and the other bridge is off there in the distance. It was vitally important that these two bridges be taken. The US 504 Parachute Regiment tried to take this bridge on the 17th and failed. They tried to take it again on the 18th and failed. They then hooked up with 30 Corps on the 19th, and even with 30 Corps' assistance, tanks, artillery, etc., they still could not get across the Val and take both bridges. So another plan was hatched. They decided to try and take one of the bridges, or both of the bridges, from either end at the same time. So that would mean they would have to cross the river somehow. So they didn't have appropriate boats. They were given canvas boats that were really made for making Bailey bridges. So there was no seats or anything, and in fact there was no paddles. They were told to use the butts of their rifles and cross the Val River. And I will put a piece of footage in of the Val River. It's not narrow. It's a very, very wide, fast-flowing river. So they're under fire. They're using equipment that's not really appropriate, and they make it. They make it across the river, but they take heavy, heavy losses. They managed to create effectively a beachhead on the other side, and with that small foothold, they are able to attack both bridges at the same time, and the Nijmegen bridges are taken. And this is really, like I said at the start of this clip, where my story ends as far as Hell's Highway is concerned, and hopefully you've enjoyed it. It's been a learning curve for me, and I've been kind of learning and trying to share basically my learning with you as I've gone along. I went over to the bridge in the distance, which this camera won't see, so I will put in my experience over at that bridge straight after the end of this clip. So it is really important, so please do hang around for that. That is a memorial to all of the men that died trying to take the bridges at Nijmegen. And there's a lot of men there. God bless them, one and all. God bless them, one and all. So there are 48 pairs of lights, street lights, on top of the bridge, and they light them in sequence as people walk across the bridge. And they walk across the bridge in memorial of the 48 men that died trying to cross the Val River. So that's it. That's the end of my Hell's Highway experience, and like I said, hopefully you've enjoyed it. It's history, people, and it shouldn't be forgotten. So I normally sign off a video with my normal blurb, but I don't think it's appropriate, so I'm not going to say it. So I would like to close this video with the only words really that I think are appropriate. They shall not grow old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them. nor the years condemned. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them. We will remember them. Thanks for watching, people.